I love to hunt big bucks. It's a huge rush to see a giant coming right down your way.
Melissa Bachman does all she can to keep her cool when an Illinois monster steps out during shotgun season on this Winchester Whitetail revolution.
Yeah, he's a shooter. I gotta wait till he turns broadside. He turned broadside, and I could hardly get my breathing under control. Look at this. Oh my goodness.
For Melissa Bachman, Illinois whitetail hunting commenced at the pinnacle with a free-range archery buck scoring .202. And the years of experience she's gained since have convinced her that the best place is still where it all began, at Golden Triangle Whitetails.
Illinois is one of my favorite places in the world to hunt. I hunt in west central Illinois, kind of where Pike, Brown, Adams, and Schuyler counties all come together. The reason why? It's full of big bucks. Now, I've had some great success here in the past. 2 bucks over 170. I got a beautiful buck last year on opening day, and I couldn't be more ready for this shotgun season to come in.
Illinois is one of those states where you can't have a rifle in your hand. You can't have a high-powered rifle. You shoot muzzleloaders and shotguns. That allows a lot of deer to get the full potential, get that age, be able to have those big racks. And Illinois is a state you come out with a giant deer.
And I know from personal experience, you know, I get an archery tag there every year. I try and get a gun tag there. I've taken some great whitetails in the state of Illinois. And I promise you, if you do get to go to Illinois to hunt trophy whitetails, you won't be disappointed.
Well, it looks like we've got a perfect setup right here. Now it's just up to me, and we're out in Illinois, and this is the land of big bucks. Well, it's only a 4-day season, so I wanted to make sure that my time spent would be the absolute best places that you could hunt a big buck. So I've got a ton of cameras out. And when I went out to check these photos, well, there were some giants. In fact, probably 8 to 10 huge shooters all living in the same area.
It's a regular rogues gallery of monster whitetail, all captured on trail camera.
I think trail cameras are a legitimate way to see what's happening in our bailiwicks. I either spend all my hours out there scouting, seeing it myself, or I hire my cameras to help me. And most of us have real lives and jobs and families, and we can't just be sitting out every day watching what goes on.
It makes me be a more focused hunter because I know at any point in time that good buck that I've got pictures of in that area could be the very next buck that I come to.
Now that's what I call Big Buck Central, and that's exactly where I was going to be heading, and I hope to connect with one of those giants. Now, the one place that really seemed to be a hot spot was a big cornfield that a lot of deer were coming to. The very first day, I set up right on the edge. There's a buck right there. That buck just took off the field, just slowly walked back in. But it's pretty tough to see where I'm at right now because I've got really limited visibility. That's the hard part with being on the ground. You want to make sure you can see everything and have a very good shot. And it just wasn't a great shot. Super low, everything was in my way. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of walking around and try to find a place that's up just a little bit higher. Even if I need to get off the field a little bit more, might be a longer shot, but should be a much higher elevation and have better shot angles. So I'm gonna go and try to find just a little higher spot. And I was hoping it was only a matter of time before the big boy came out. With my new vantage point, I knew I'd have a very good shot if the opportunity came. There's a buck right there. And even from as far away as he was, I knew he was a shooter.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
I've got some nice bucks coming through here. Now, it's just a matter of time that I'd be here when they're here.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution hunter Melissa Bachman is after one of the many trophy class bucks she's captured on trail cameras. Not only does she bring an exciting story of Midwestern monarchs, but one that helps to redefine the misrepresentation of women in outdoor media.
Well, you know, it's been a stigma for many years. Hunting's kind of been more of a male sport, and it's really not that way.
You know, it's not like playing NFL football. Hunting is a special sport. Men, women, and children can do it equally.
Hunting's been an equal right that Bachman's been taking advantage of since her central Minnesota girlhood, when her parents introduced her to the sport. As the years passed and her passion for hunting grew, she took the leap of finding a way to make a living in the field, breaking down male-dominated stereotypes and some of outdoor media's overused conventions of the past.
You know, outdoor television, I think, has sort of taken advantage of women, and advertisers want attention. I think they have tended to play up the bimbo aspect of women hunters a little too much in the past, which for me is refreshing to see someone like Melissa come on board who is a real hunter.
So she's getting in there for the right reasons because, number one, she wants to do it, and that's the reason to be there.
I love to hunt. I've been super successful by myself as a female hunter, and I want other females to know that you can do it on your own and be successful. Now, I haven't had a lot of luck yet this morning in the corn, but they like this tall standing corn. Not only does it provide them with food, but it also gives them the cover they need. As you can see, almost all the corn's already eaten, but there's still a little bit left, so I'm gonna just ease my way through here and then head to a turnip patch next. Now, when it gets cold, they love those turnips, so hopefully I'll have some luck there. Now, you probably have different areas that you hunt, and when it comes down to a very short season, like the Illinois season is only a 4-day season, you want to make sure you're putting your time in the correct locations. And the trail camera can be your best friend at this point.
In deer management, trail cams are actually accounting tools on this Tecumate Trophy tip.
Hi, I'm David Morris. Many people today are investing in hunting land, and I tell you, I don't know of a better way to spend money. And one of the most useful tools for managing that property is a game camera. This is really a game changer, and perhaps more importantly to a manager, it is a game counter. You can use this thing to get a pretty good idea of what you've got on your property. And then when hunting season rolls around, you can use this camera not only to tell you what you've got there, but what pattern that animal is on. What is he doing? When is he doing it? What time of day? What time of night? Usually the case with big bucks. This thing will tell you a whole lot about your herd and what they're doing, guarantee it. I'm David Morris. See you next time on the Tecumate Trophy Tips.
To continue this and other conversations with David, go to tecumate.com.
Haven't had any luck yet, but this is the perfect time, the mornings and evenings, to hit food plots. So I'm trying to stay extremely mobile, be where the deer want to be.
Post rut with a shotgun, to me, you're going to want to hunt over food sources. because after the rut is over with, those bucks have been chasing hard. They've dropped a lot of their body weight. Even if you got a buck that's still thinking about rutting a little bit, the does are coming to the food sources.
Especially on the evening hunts, those does are going to be going out to feed. Those bucks are going to think that, hey, maybe a doe is still going to come in, maybe come in late for that second rut. And so key in on your feed, and you got a chance to kill a really good deer during that post-rut phase.
But there's no need to tell Bachman the value of hunting food sources, especially in Illinois.
I started off coming to the state and was able to take a buck after a pack of coyotes chased him right to me. I got to full draw, and as the buck started quartering away, I waited till I had the perfect shot and placed my arrow right behind his shoulder. Now, walking up to this buck, I couldn't have been happier. This was a buck of a lifetime. In fact, he ended up scoring 202 inches. Not a bad way to start off my hunting career in Illinois, and the best part is, this was only the beginning. Now, this was one of those bucks that when you see him, you know that he is a shooter. I gotta wait till he turns broadside. He's facing right at me. There's a buck right there.
Her years of experience on this home-like turf of Golden Triangle whitetails tells Bachman that there are bigger bucks around.
One of the things for me as a trophy whitetail hunter that I love to do is go back to my old familiar hunting grounds, places that I've known and hunted for 15, 20 years.
It's just like going home. It's like the old family hunts back in the day when people had a deer camp. Uncle Jim and Grandpa and Dad and all your relatives, you just got a history there. So it's extra special.
Oh my goodness, it's like when I was a single guy and I used to go back into Troy, Pennsylvania and walk into my favorite bar, and everybody would come over and, you know, they give you that warm and they'd hug you and shake your hand, tell me a hunting story.
You know, you have friends there, you trust the place, you know what to expect. And once you've got that place learned and you have it in your back pocket, all that knowledge, and you go back, your odds of success go way up.
Now this year, I've put in a ton of time bow hunting, and I haven't been successful yet. I've seen some giants. Over a 170, a couple 150s, and a close encounter with a buck that was nearly 160 inches. But the buck escaped, and so I'm excited to get out there and put a slug gun in my hands. Now, yesterday I was out here, got to see a smaller size buck, not a shooter this year, but he might be a good up-and-comer in some does. But today I snuck back out to the same cornfield, and I found this tree to get by, and it's a little higher rise. I can see a little bit better and have a better view, better shot angles on the deer. I'm hoping the deer start filtering out, and I've got a perfect rock-solid spot. With my new vantage point, I was able to see a lot better. I knew I'd have a very good shot if the opportunity came. There's a buck right there. I saw the buck skidding across the field, chasing a young doe. Usually I would never think to bring my rattling horns along in December when I'm gun hunting in Illinois. But this year, things are different. Right now, I'm seeing rutting. That means there should be some fighting in the area, so I'm hoping to pull a big buck right out.
You got to try and change things up a little bit. You got to try and, maybe pull a rabbit out of your hat. Do whatever it takes. Pull a set of rattling antlers out. Pull a grunt call out. You never know what mood you'll catch a buck in, and it could work.
There's a buck right there. He's running right across that field, chasing the doe. I just saw an absolute giant come flying all the way across the field. He was chasing a doe in front of him. It's the beginning of December, and these bucks are still chasing does. This year was a super late rut, and usually you don't see that much rutting action in December, but this year was different, and I plan to take full advantage of it. This is the spot I want to come back to. Got the perfect rise in the land, and obviously the bucks are here. Trail cams tell me, and now I just saw a monster run through. If he was hot on that young doe, I knew he probably wouldn't go far from this area, and this was exactly where I wanted to be set up tomorrow. Yeah, he's a shooter. I gotta wait till he turns broadside. He turned broadside, and I could hardly get my breathing under control.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
There's a buck right there. He's running right across that field chasing the doe.
Melissa Bachman came close to one of the many monster bucks she's been keeping camera tabs on. But monsters aren't hiding around every tree in Illinois.
A lot of fantasies going on in Illinois. A lot of people want to go and they want to experience for themselves. And when it comes right down to it, choose your outfitters wisely. A lot of people go to Illinois and there are a lot of big bucks killed, but that doesn't mean you're going to go out there and kill a big buck.
It's not my kind of hunting. I want to have some room around me. Elbow room, cried Daniel Boone, Spomer agrees. So more power to Melissa if she can hunt that way. And I know she's successful at it. I have drooled over some of the bucks she's taken on that state. It definitely is cranking out some of the biggest bucks in the country these days.
I think the state of Illinois is ranked number 2 in all-time typical whitetails taken. There is probably no better state that you could choose today than the state of Illinois to hunt a trophy whitetail, no question.
Illinois is a very cool place. You know, I'm pretty fortunate in the fact that I live in the central United States. You know, and that corn belt that comes down through there, it just holds a lot of really big whitetails.
The image of that high rack buck running across, well, I couldn't get him out of my brain. So I set right back up in the same spot, and I knew that if that young doe was in the area, this buck would surely be out. There's a buck coming out right there. Let's do that. We've got a bunch of does out there right now, a smaller buck, and the time is getting good. I'm thinking these bucks are going to start filtering out soon. Now luckily the deer started coming out and feeding a little bit earlier. I had several deer on the field and things were starting to look up. I saw antlers coming right to the group of deer. Now this was one of those bucks that when you see him, you know that he is a shooter. That looks like a good one. I gotta wait till he turns broadside. He's facing right at me. He turned broadside, and I could hardly get my breathing under control. Anytime I know I'm gonna finally shoot a buck, well, I get a little bit of buck fever, and this was definitely the case. I just got the big buck. I'm almost positive it's the buck we saw last night. We're getting right to the end of shooting line. He came right out of the edge, right where all the other deer were. Had time to wait for the perfect broadside shot, and I put it right in his shoulder. I know he just probably went down just a little ways, but I think I'm gonna just stay hidden here. There's still deer on the other side of the field. I'm gonna wait till it gets dark and then go over there. I'm sure he's not far inside. This slug gun punched right through the shoulder. I can't even wait to go see him. I'm not sure exactly how big he is, but I know he's nice. Once dark finally hit, well, the mist started coming and I was thrilled to have a buck down. The weather had definitely got these deer moving and it's everything I had hoped for. But as I walked up on this big buck, I could hardly believe my eyes. Check out the size of this buck. Now most people, they'll talk about ground shrinkage. I think I've got some ground growth. I couldn't believe it. In fact, my first thoughts were, this couldn't be my buck. He's too huge. That's a good feeling to have when you walk up on a buck. I knew this was a nice buck, but I don't think I knew he was this big. And you know what? With this kicker, I'm pretty sure this is the buck that I got within 18 yards of during bow season, and he escaped.
And if you can get out there and have everything come together, kill that buck that you've scouted early season, as a hunter, that's a grand slam.
Just because something doesn't come through earlier in the season doesn't mean you won't have a crack at them later. That's 3 huge bucks over 160 and 1 huge smile for me. Got it done in Illinois.